Hey guys, welcome to Water and Wine, Confessions with Fat Jesus, another episode here with Witt and Nelson Puentes from Inverted Gear fame, which is the cool little pandas over here. We've just wrapped up at the Jiu-Jitsu Globetrotters camp in Sardinia, a surf camp with no waves.
It was an interesting week.
Yeah, really cool week though, wasn't it?
Yeah, still love to surf, yes.
We got some cool weather and really cool rolls in. I think.
Some sup.
Some sup. Look, I've noticed you guys have been on a few of these Globetrotter camps now. What is the reason you guys stopped teaching in a gym and started to travel around a little?
Oh man, what's it called? Wanderlust. I just always wanted to travel and just, definitely meeting Christian was a catalyst. Definitely taking a few more trips than we would have if it wasn't for Christian. 2 weeks ago we were in Greenland.
Greenland was amazing.
Greenland was a cool trip. It was very different than I expected. And just, I don't know, he's meeting so many people, so many cool people.
Yeah.
Our cameraman, for example.
Well, I think on this camp we had 12 nationalities represented.
12 nationalities,
yeah.
And just, I feel like the Christian pools are very specific, market out of the jiu-jitsu population. It's not like the hyper competitor, but it's the guys that like we're saying, like to travel, like to train, and you make these awesome connections that these awesome people. I got invited everywhere this week.
Yeah, no, I understand exactly the same. Yeah, it's happening for me as well. It's I've been invited to Iceland and all these places I've never thought I'd be able to go to.
Exactly. And now people are like, oh, come to Morocco, come to Sicily, come to Iceland, we'll set you up. Whatever you need, just let me know. It's okay, awesome.
Nice.
It's doesn't take much to get me to go somewhere right now.
Definitely.
Being able to be that's the other thing. Inverted Gear got to the point where we can work out of our laptops comfortably.
Yeah. Let's talk a little about Inverted Gear then. When did you start Inverted Gear? When did the idea come about, and why did the idea?
Okay, 2012. I was living with my parents. I was teaching at a local jiu-jitsu school that was literally 2 blocks from my parents' house, so it was amazing. I would just walk there every morning.
Nice.
And we wanted a logo. My students started asking for patches. So one of my students, Steve Pachon, he came up with the logo. We have this picture of a panda upside down, and we're throw it oh, jiu-jitsu panda. And also around the same time, I've been teaching panda guard. That's when you wrap your legs and arms around the guy in close guard.
Nice.
So I actually pulled it off in competition a few times. So my students were obsessed with the panda thing. So we did a panda logo, put Nelson Puentes Jiu-Jitsu on it. Started going to tournaments, and then people just kept coming up to me, like, "Hey, can I buy that shirt?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "What?"
So do you think
my name on it?
Inverted Gear is now a worldwide success. Do you think that's just because of the logo, or?
Oh man, the logo is definitely a big part of it. Yeah. I think that's the logo opened the door for us.
Yeah.
And then it's a good product, good customer service, and giving back to the community has definitely pushed us forward. I think if it was just the logo, I don't think we would have made it past the first year. But
I agree. I think the customer service is important, especially in a small community like Jiu-Jitsu. I hear stories of some gi brands that the customers will email them with problems, and the gi brand will either just ignore them or tell the customer
you did something wrong.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. So I think that's a great thing. Look, Hillary, one question I had for you was about women's jiu-jitsu. You're a black belt. There's not so many black belts out there in the women's side of things even now, but it's getting much better. How is the state of play in the States? Like in Australia, in other countries, we're still a little behind the States. The States is definitely more developed in general in jiu-jitsu. Is the women's scene in the US more developed as well?
I would say yes. It's funny now coming to these camps abroad. It's so many women come up to me. You're the first black belt I've met. Oh my god, did I roll with you? Oh my god, people almost seem Star Trek. I'm just.
That's really cool. Well, that's pretty cool for the girls.
I'm not special. I'm me, and we're friends. It's cool. And but then back in the States, when I started competing, it was they were still grouping belts together to make a bracket. Now there will be 16 girls in a division. You see 10 girls sign up in the black division, black belt division now. It's amazing, and it's nice going to other gyms. You can give seminars or go to open mats, and it's you'll have 20 girls on the mat. It's you were lucky, like if you had one girl show up that day to train like 10 years ago. So.
And there's some pretty cool women's competitors coming through. I mean, you yourself was a world champ at blue belt and purple belt, and now there's some really cool competitors like Mackenzie Dunn and some others that you were mentioning.
Yeah, and I mean they're exciting and they're very approachable. You know, like they're nice. They give good interviews. They're smart. They're beautiful. It's like they set a really good example for the rest of us, like to just live the lifestyle and be part of jiu-jitsu and meet new people, just like everything. It's like you get to travel, you go to their seminars, like it's kind of like it really opens a lot of doors to see that.
So one thing I've noticed recently is that there are more and more good quality female black belts teaching seminars, you know, teaching at clubs and running successful clubs now, and that wasn't happening 10 years ago. You were mentioning to me earlier the case of a really cool club in the States. Do you want to talk about that a little?
Some of the best schools I've visited and or been a part of were first one comes to mind is Leticia's school.
Yep.
Her kids program too, like the amount of girls and boys on the mat. I mean, it's equal. It's a level playing field, you know. And then her women competitors, and just she sets like such a good example, and she really cares about her students. And I know like another one is Atos with Andre, who started it, but now Angelica runs a very successful women's program, and she sets such a high bar. Like, as beautiful as she is, she wins everything. She's purple belt, I think. Like every event she enters, she's winning. And I mean, some strong women examples, and being there on the mat every day with their students.
It's great. What do you think about the role the internet's had to play? For me, I think in general, you know, outside of jiu-jitsu, I think the internet can manage to bring smaller niche groups together. Do you think that's helped women's jiu-jitsu? Do you think that the internet is, or that there's maybe ways that people can use the internet? Anything that you've seen in your experience?
I've seen, I mean, Facebook's a big one. There's so many groups out there. Like it's almost hard to keep track of them, but it just bringing women together from like all over the world, like to be able to talk about like these little things, like in girl problems, like as far as hair, like what gis you like where the next seminar or open mat is. It's like you might be like one of one or one of three women at your gym, and then you see like there's a local gym just like only a few miles away, they're having an open mat, like, and then you end up having like 20 girls on the mat the next week.
I think Emily and the ladies at Groundswell, their group on Facebook, I think is one of the biggest.
Yeah, the women's camps, the Groundswell grappling concepts.
Groundswell grappling. In Australia, there's Australian Girls in Gi as well. That's got over 1,000 members in Australia, I think. So maybe check out Groundswell Australian Girls in Gi if you're one of the girls watching this.
It's hard to keep track of them.
Yeah, nice. So obviously you guys have been doing lots and lots of travel lately. Do you plan to keep traveling and keep that up, or are you going to sort of slow down and maybe go back home?
Yeah. We're going back home now, and we're going to be home we're going to Chicago to one of Emily's camps at Groundswell. We're visiting Annette Stack, her gym. But after that, we're home for a bit, and this year is going to be intense. Because we've been traveling since January. Well, I mean, we started traveling like August we started traveling outside of the US August last year. We haven't stopped really. We have this camp, it was great. We're staying here for another week teaching at a local school.
Yep.
After that, we're going home, we're going to Chicago, and then next outside the US trip is Copenhagen in August.
Yep.
Christian, we probably see you there.
No, I won't be there actually. I've got a different camp that I'll be in New Zealand at that time.
This guy. And after that, we got the Globetrotters camp in New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, nice.
September, so that's another thing we were booked for.
Yep.
That was like the beginning of everything a year ago with Christian.
Yep.
A lot of the instructors fell out last minute, so me and Hilly had to step up.
Nice.
Cover some classes, and then Christian was like, dude, whenever you want to come to Europe, let me know. I was like, okay.
Nice.
And we're doing Asia for the first time, so I'm excited. Japan, Korea, and Guam.
Any plans to come to Australia at any point?
We were trying to make it happen.
Sometime next year. We've got to figure out a date.
Let's do it. What about the difference between teaching at a club? You know, you're teaching students that are there, you know, a few times a week, every week for a few years, so you've got a long time frame to develop them, versus teaching a camp like this, where maybe you get 2 classes for 1 hour, and that's all you have with these guys. And there's so many different belt ranks as well. You know, you've got the whole spectrum, white to black, on one mat. you got to teach the same class to the same people.
Yeah.
How do you think that differs?
His background is, when you're at your home club, you have a very good idea what everybody's good at,
Yeah.
what the holes in the games are, and you can kind of craft the program that way. And like you know, if you teach a certain position, you know how much your club knows about that position.
Yeah.
And when you're at a camp, you have no idea if people are familiar with what you're talking about.
Mm.
Like I know I've been like I've traveled and people ask me to teach seminars. I would start going into like, let's say, leg drag, and then I would look around the room and everybody's just lost. And I'm like, okay, we gotta baby step this. Like we gotta go very basic before we get to it. Or sometimes there's positions like deep half guard, for example.
Yeah.
If the partner doesn't know how to react to it or how to base, it makes it impossible for the poor guy at the bottom to work the move.
Yeah, I agree.
And I remember in Austria,
Yeah.
I was trying to show deep half guard, and everybody that had experience with it was great, and love the seminar. And then the other half, which is struggling because the partner was not giving the reaction they needed.
Sure. Understand. All right, guys. I think we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for joining me for a quick chat. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
So check out Inverted Gear, guys. Really cool brand over here. And if you come along to some of the Globetrotters camps, I'm sure you'll see Hillary, Nelson, and maybe even this guy. Cheers.